Hey, Pleasant Valley Creative Arts Community, Brian Nelson here, and we're going to begin doing some of these spotlight interviews. This is the very first one, and I'm going to introduce you to Ruth today. She runs cameras. She's been with us just for a little bit, and she is a very fun person to be around. So check out this first interview. We'll be doing some more of these spotlight interviews coming up with those that serve with us at Pleasant Valley in the creative arts community. Here's the interview with Ruth.
All right. It's good to have you guys listen in here to an interview. We have Ruth, and watch this. My Spanish is not very good. It's very close to Naranjo, which means orange in Spanish.
Orange tree.
Orange tree. Is that what you're, okay, so how do you pronounce your last name, Ruth?
Naranjo.
Naranjo. So I actually said it close.
Yes, very close.
I'm so glad that we're recording this because now I can prove to the world I'm smart and I actually do know Spanish.
Hey, you're good. It's okay.
Okay, so this is Ruth, and I like Ruth because she's kind of been a newer person on our team, but she's been here for a little while. And you probably don't know her because you see the back of her on camera. She runs camera on our production team. And she doesn't know this, but she's become the pseudo mom of some of our camera ops. Did you know that?
No.
Well, now that she knows that, we're gonna hear from camera mom a little bit more about her. So Ruth, can you just kind of unpack for us, just start from the beginning, like were you born and raised here, maybe your family, how you ended up at Pleasant Valley? Could you just unpack some of who you are for us?
Sure. I was born and raised in Michigan in a very small town called Saginaw, which is kind of in the mouth of Michigan. And for people from Michigan, we always use our hand, and that's how we get around. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
It's either Michigan or it's Wisconsin.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah. So I always refer to Saginaw as the armpit and the crotch of the United States, but hey, that's just me. I am 71 years old. I have my son, Nick, and he's 38 years old. And they just had their first baby, him and Katie, in January. So I'm an official grandma.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And she is just really, really cute. And unfortunately for both of the kids, they're in law enforcement, but they're dealing with the present situation. But wow, I went into television in 1969. I was still in junior college, and I started at PBS. And believe it or not, I was on the crew that signed on Sesame Street for
Really?
our area, and also the Muppets.
Okay, so I grew up on Sesame Street, and I had a fascination with the Muppets. My favorite is Animal, the drummer.
Yes. Remember, he would dance and he'd go 1, 2, 3, dip. I love Animal.
The Muppets were great, especially their opening sequence when Gonzo would always play the trumpet and something obnoxious would happen, but it would be different every time.
Oh yeah, and his girlfriend Henrietta, who was the chicken. So it was Henrietta the chicken,
That's awesome. So you actually, you were a part of launching and rolling that out.
Yeah, in Master Control that helped to sign on both programs. And then I got an opportunity to move to Kansas City to work as an editor in the newsroom at KCTV5. So in 1969, we packed up my car, and I had never ever been away from my family. And I drove from Michigan to Kansas City, and I think I cried all the way.
Oh,
And I started my job, and I've been here ever since. And I met my husband at work.
hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of who I am and where I'm from. And my parents are from Mexico. And what they did is they followed the train up to Michigan. And my grandpa and my grandpa worked for a little bit on the railroad, but they both wound up at GM.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of a GM baby, you
That's
know.
that's that's awesome. So basically, what you're saying is you moved from the armpit to the to the navel of the United States is
Yes.
basically what you're saying. Okay.
And so that's kind of how I got here. And I will tell you the best move I've ever made is when my son and my daughter-in-law talked me into moving here, because
Hmm.
I was living in Prairie Village. And they said, Mom, why don't you move up north and be smart? And I said, well, okay. And it was the best move.
That's good. So how did you end up at, how long have you been at Pleasant Valley? Because I feel like you've been here longer than you probably really have. What brought you here, and how long have you really been at Pleasant Valley?
Well, see, now you can get after Karen Woods, and she is the owner of Oasis Hair Salon, which is right on Church Road. You have to
Okay.
round the bend. And I was looking for a place for someone to cut my hair. Long and short, she said, you're coming to church with me. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm a mackerel snapper. And she said, yeah, Catholic. And I
Wait,
said,
no,
oh,
stop. You need to explain that for me. What did you call that?
a mackerel snapper. Catholics always ate fish on Fridays. So mackerel is a type of fish.
Oh, mackerel, like as in the
Yeah,
kind of fish.
yeah.
So a
And
mackerel smacker,
snapper.
snapper.
Yeah. So, you know, Karen said, you're coming to church with me, and it was at Christmas. I said, sure, I'll go to church with you. She had her entire family. She did not tell me how big the church was. Just said, just roll with it. I said, okay. Here I am in the midst of this entire family, and then this monstrous congregation. And I'm like, hmm. Well, we sat down and I saw the cameras. I said, Karen. She goes, what? I said, where's the control room? And she looked at me like, what? I said, where is the control room?
Yeah, she looked at you like I looked at you when you said mackerel snapper,
Snapper.
snapper. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I said, Karen, do you see those cameras? She goes, yeah. I said, you see the red light on the top of each one? She goes, yeah. I said, somebody is in a room yelling at them, telling them what to do. I want to know where that room is. And she said, we'll find out after service. I said, okay. So we go through the service, and I was getting used to the music because that's not what I'm used to.
Right. Probably different than mass a little bit.
Yeah. And then Pastor got up, and I was like, the lesson was astounding, astounding. And he was like teaching the way that I'm used to, and I'll call it a rogue priest or a more pressed priest would preach. And so I went, dude, I like this. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I'm
A
getting the
rogue.
message.
Okay, so I'm just telling you right now, this is probably going to get back to Merle that he is a rogue priest, and he,
But you know,
I'm just warning you. He's probably going to have a conversation with a mackerel snapper soon.
oh, he's already had about two, I think.
Well, oh,
You
that's good though. So really, your connection was you
Karen,
saw the camera, you were in broadcast before, and you knew, okay, well, there's a central hub somewhere, probably in some back room. I want to go see that. So you went back and saw it then on
yeah,
the same day that you came to the Christmas service.
I think it was the same day. If not, Karen and I went to another service, and that's when it happened.
Okay,
But John and Alicia were the ones that greeted me.
that's
And
awesome. John Hood, our technical director, for those of you that don't know, and Alicia Baperi, our video editor. Okay.
yeah, and so I was back there and I said, I just retired and I retired with 39 years of service with Meredith Corporation. But if you tack on when I started from 1969, it makes me older than dirt to be in television. So we talked
Hey,
and
but television was already color when you came on, so you're not that old.
no, but I'm a film baby. So we processed film, we built a film processor, we did all of that, you know.
Wow.
Um, but John and Alicia, they just smiled really big. And then this lady leaned out and she said, if you want to volunteer, you're more than welcome. And I said, well, then put me down. And John said, here's my email. Go ahead and send me a note. And here I am.
That's awesome. Okay, so what year was that? Because you've been with us. Has it been 2 years?
It would probably be maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay, so not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. So it had been in Christmas of 2018.
Yeah, yeah. And here I am. And, you know, Arlen is,
Uh, okay, you're gonna have to tell people who Arlen is. This is Arlen Wilson, right?
yes, and he's one of our directors. And he knew immediately because thank God he grew up in commercial television. And so he knew immediately what I was made of. And there was that instant connection.
Right,
But
common bond there.
yeah. And so, but when you grow up in commercial television, the vernacular is perhaps a little more gritty.
Hmm.
And I remember I messed up once because I was on camera 4. And John said, 4, you're hot. And I was upset with myself. And I whispered, oh, and Arlen said, Ruth. I said, yes. He said, you're going to Bible class.
you, oh, you know what? But you know what, Ruth? Here's what I love about this, and this is why we love everyone just like you, because we're a church not full of perfect people, and we say that, and we love working with people that are just authentic, and so that's funny. So did they have like a little bleeper? Did they press the bleep button?
Well, they didn't have to do that because I was respectful and just kind of whispered. But yeah, Arlen said, no, 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 we can't have that. I said, okay, Arlen. But after that, when I was there and if Arlen was working and he knew me, which he does very well, he said he would always go, no, Ruth, be quiet, Ruth, hush. And I'd be like, okay, 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 I'm good, I'm good.
Oh, that's
So
so good. And that's good that you guys had that common broadcasting experience because you understand each other. And the fact that you guys can hit it off and have that honest conversation, that's awesome.
sometimes I think Arlen wishes we didn't, just because he's like, oh my God, what planet are you from?
Well, I can't wait to see Arlen's comments on this interview later once he finds out that we dropped his name in here.
Oh,
So far we have Arlen Wilson that's going to be commenting, and then Merle Meese is probably going to be commenting on the rogue pastor. So no, rogue priest, rogue
rogue
priest.
priest. He does. He teaches like a rogue priest, which is
Yeah.
a progressive priest, not the dyed in the wool. You know, I came up with priests that would actually come down off the pulpit and talk to you and connect with you, you know. So I I know what that's about.
That's good. Hey, can we move on to
Sure,
the
sure.
second question? Okay, so I've asked everyone, and I talked a little bit about this before we started, but I don't know what she's going to say. Um, so I ask everyone, share one thing that most people don't know about you, and then I jokingly told Ruth she needs to keep it legal and clean. So now that you've just shared that story about Arlen, now I'm really glad that I said share something that's legal and clean. So anyway,
Yes.
what is something that most people may not know about you?
Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I would say a majority of people don't know about me. One, I used to tinker with the acoustic guitar and the piano. I learned how to play piano when I was very young. No, don't even go there. I tinker. Um, it was right before I got married. I was helping my ex-husband to clean some things out of a house that we were refurbishing. And we dropped a 400-pound safe door on my hand. And there was like a window, like the back of a blazer. And when the door fell, the window broke. So it only took my ring finger. And so there's that. Um,
Did that stop your playing? I mean,
it limits a lot because it's tender and it's hard to build up a callus.
yeah. Which finger is it?
It's the ring finger on my left hand, so it's the frets,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
That's not a good one. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's not good. Unless you're Phil Kagi. Do you know who Phil Kagi is? He's a
Oh
guitar
yeah,
player.
yeah,
Yeah, he actually is missing. I don't
yeah.
know how he does it. It seems like he has four hands and he's just missing a finger and makes the guitar sing. But I have injured a finger and I'm like, okay, I
This
can't
hurts.
play. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
this,
bad.
yeah. Well, it's just something that happened. I danced. I should say I studied dance for 20 years. So that was classical ballet, tap, jazz. They started me choreographing at a very young age. And so I started with a small Girl Scout troop, and they were so cute. Um, and they had to perform. And so we decided they would perform the can-can, okay? And so we did the whole thing. Well, because I grew up in the hood, you know, Well, we didn't have too many pennies to buy costumes.
Yeah.
So we took mom's, like those old poodle skirts, and we cut them down so they fit the kids, and we put little stuff underneath. And so that's what we used. And the kids loved it, and the parents loved it. And then I choreographed a couple shows in college. Um, Oliver.
Oh yeah, musical Oliver.
Yeah, yeah. So did that one, and I did another one, and then I was in community theater, and I was like, you're in the background, as a dancer or whatever. Did Billy the Kid, but the choreographer for that would always pull me aside and say, I got to go run an errand. You run these people through their drill. And I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. So,
That's probably why you are perceived as being the camera mom, because people see some leadership and they see some like oversight. And
oh,
and I'm gonna give you fair warning. Occasionally, just occasionally. Now this is a Baptist church, so it's not really choreography. People will say it's devotion in motion, is what they say. So you you never know. We may need some choreography someday, and we may be coming to you for some advice.
I will help someone. I will give you that because I feel you need it. If you need it and I can do
Yeah.
it, I will do it. And then
So,
there's
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say. So, dancing, playing the guitar,
the
and
piano,
the piano. Okay.
tinker on the piano. And then the last thing, and I got to group this together, Tai Chi, 13 years, karate for a couple years, and I was blessed to be taught boxing by a world champion, a female world champion. Her name is Sumaya Anani. She lives on the Kansas side, and she teaches aerial silks at if you're traveling and going south on I-35, there's that geodesic dome that you see. That's where Sumaya teaches. So she was my instructor.
So
And
you're. So wait a second. So some martial arts,
yeah,
like.
yeah. Can I
So
break your
this.
nose? Yes.
So this whole time you could have kicked my backside and I haven't known it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Sumaya refers to me as her gentle spirit.
Okay. So do you know um, Doc Harrelson is his name? Do you know what Harrelson at the church?
Yeah.
He okay. He teaches martial arts. So if
Which
we could get,
form?
I wish I could tell you, but I'm a musician and I count to four and start over again. So I'm not really sure. Uh,
Get it?
and if you knew that I couldn't remember the name of it, but I'll hook you guys up, and
Okay.
you guys can figure out, like, we can give you a list of people that you can kick their backside for us. No, it's more defense. I know it's not like offensive martial arts kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but that's awesome that I mean, you obviously have studied that. That's not like just a 2-week class. That takes some
Oh
dedication.
no. Um, my Tai Chi instructor, if you ever consider doing Tai Chi, his name is Kim Kanzelberger. And his studio is on Gregory off from Maine on the Missouri side. He also is a world champion, of which I never knew. I
Hmm.
didn't know until after a year of taking classes. Um, but the defensive end of Tai Chi is push hands. They call it push hands. So everything you do, every movement you make, comes from the 36 postures in your form. And that's what you use in push hand. And then you learn sword and, all that stuff.
So wait a second. Like you're talking like a sword that you would.
Oh, a big sword. Yeah. I never did that. Oh, okay.
You mean like this?
It would be maybe lighter. It would be a sword that you can put on your index finger. And if
Okay,
it's
so
weighted properly, it'll sit there.
gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I should probably never let you in my office alone because I got swords in here and I want to feel protected. So
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, and in karate, like I'm capable of taking a good sized dowel rod, and I can break your collarbone.
so note to self when we're doing stage design and we have some wood on the stage, don't let you around the dowel rods.
That's true. But you don't have to worry because most of the time it's dark in there and I can't see.
Oh, well, listen, we're going to move on to the third thing, but listen,
Mhm.
I would have no clue that you knew that you did martial arts, that you did some dance and choreography, um, and the guitar and piano. That's crazy. And so I'm thankful that we're doing this interview because I'm learning stuff about you that I didn't know. And here's the crazy thing: you've been at Pleasant Valley, like you and I
Oh,
see each other, what, probably every other week, maybe every third week,
yeah,
for about a year and a half. And I didn't know any of this about you, so I
I
love it.
don't I don't put it out there, because I'm 71, dude, that's history, you know. Just take me as I am here, and I love Lamar donuts, you know. So
Just remember that, right?
yeah, just take me where I am.
Oh, okay, Ruth. Before we sign off here, I'm asking everyone that does these interviews how we can pray for them. So, is there something that we could be praying for you about specifically that you wouldn't mind sharing with the Pleasant Valley Creative Arts community? And again, I don't know when people are going to be listening to this interview. It might be a week or a month later, but if there's something you could share with us that we could be praying for you about, or just even people coming up and saying, "Hey, how's that going?" What would you share?
There's boy, there's a couple things. One would be to pray for my family because they're going to be helping me through a knee replacement that's coming up real quick. Um, Pray for our country and all the people in it because we're all affected by what's going on.
Yeah.
Where economically we're all affected, spiritually, um, I can't even begin to tell you how much spiritually we're affected.
Mm.
But the other, and I'll tack this on. I volunteer with St. Luke's Hospice, and so I have about 22 patients that I take care of that I call, and because of the virus, we can't go visit or. So we make sure they have everything, the caregivers have everything they need for the patient.
Hmm.
And so you develop a rapport, and I would just like to pray for all of them. I have two right now, and one that passed, but two that are on that final couple steps.
Okay. Well, we
And
can definitely,
so,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, and it's needed all over. So I don't want to sound selfish like just my 22, but for everyone that's in hospice, those caregivers and those nurses are utterly remarkable people.
I appreciate you bringing that up as a prayer request because, we've been saying, yeah, we're praying for essential workers and people that are on the front lines, and we are, but it's another thing to actually have a connection with someone like you who you have these really tight connections. And there's others at Pleasant Valley and many other churches, but I'm just glad that you mentioned that because we could be praying specifically on the hospice end. That's just a very unique care that people give. So
We don't think about that.
yeah.
And
So
will you let me share one story?
yes, please do.
This is kind of like an Arlen story, only it's from hospice. I have a patient, and the caregiver's name is Pat. And I called her when we were going through that really hot stage. And I said, Pat, this is Ruth. She says, oh, thank you for calling. I said, no problem. I said, what can we do for you? Are you good for the weekend? And she said, we have all our meds and all the stuff we need. She said, but I have a request from you. I said, okay. She goes, can you please ask for the heat to break? And I was quiet for a minute and I said, Pat. She goes, what? I said, I'm a sinner, honey. I said, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll talk to the man downstairs first, and then I'll talk to the man upstairs. And she said, okay. And by God, thank you, Jesus, the heat broke. And let me tell you, when I talked to her that Thursday, she said, oh, thank you.
That is too good. Oh, Ruth.
So you have those people in hospice that you deal with, and they give you more than we can ever give to them.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable experience.
Well, we're going to be praying for those three things, and I'm glad you shared them. And since you shared a story, I'm going to end with a story here, if that's okay.
Sure.
And it's one of my hospice stories. So, so I was called at the church that someone that I had known was not doing well, and they had just been put on hospice. So, when you get that call on that day, sometimes it's really important. Like you just need to go right away.
Yeah.
So I jumped in my car and I'm driving down to the hospital where they had the hospice area in the hospital. And I'm walking in and I look down and I finally realized the T-shirt that I was wearing on that day. Have I told you this? The T-shirt I was wearing was one that was printed at a church family camp. And it had a verse, and in big letters, it said, life is short on the T-shirt. So I did a 180, went back into the hospital parking garage, and I turned my T-shirt inside out, and then I walked back in. So thankfully, I didn't walk in through the hospice doors unaware that I was wearing this T-shirt. That would have been not so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Ruth, it was.
Yeah, we never think of those things. You just go. You do what you got to do, and you go.
And it would have been fine. But seriously, of all days for me to wear that shirt and I almost got caught, it would have been bad.
And I apologize for talking too much. I do that.
No, you're good. I think people are going to love learning a little bit more about you. And I appreciate you taking the time to at least even open up like this and let us get to know you a little bit more. And we'll be praying for those three things. Especially the first thing that you shared prayer for. I love that you said pray for my family because I'm getting knee surgery done. It was knee surgery, right?
I'm getting a knee replacement.
Yeah, most people would say pray for me. I'm getting knee replacement, but that's awesome that you're like pray for my family. So I'm just gonna ask the creative arts community. We'll be praying for you too while you're getting your knee replaced. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right. It was good talking with you, Ruth.
Yeah, I'll see you on the 23rd.
All right, wasn't that fun to get to know Ruth a little bit better? And so if you see her running camera, make sure you go up and tell her hello and be praying for her. And I'm going to go ahead and release some of these interviews each week so you get to know some of our ministry partners and those people that are serving with us, who they are. So we're going to have both behind the scenes people and we're going to have some of the people that you see up front. And that's just a good way to get to know each other a little bit better. All right, stay tuned for the next one.